Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lysha and I'm the owner of Lysha Be Creative. I'm back with another Tumbler tutorial and we're going to be creating this really cute leopard print Grinchy and Bougie design just in time to get us kicked into the holiday season. So of course, everything I use in today's video will be listed and linked down in the description box down below, as well as any discount codes that you can use to save yourself a little bit of extra money. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's tutorial. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into this tutorial. So I am using a 20-ounce skinny screw top lid tumbler from Craft Haven. So I will list this down in the description box. And so we're going to do our regular sanding and prep process for prepping our tumbler for this design. So I'm using a 60 grit sanding block just to scuff up the manufacturer coating on my tumbler. And then I'm just going to clean it off with a little bit of 91% rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. Remember, alternatively, you could take this inside and wash it down with a little bit of dish soap and water. That will do just the same thing that you need to get your cup cleaned up and ready for the next step in the process. I am going to go ahead after this cup is prepped and take this over to my spray booth, and we're going to spray paint it with Colorshot Skinny Dip spray paint. Once I've got my cup spray painted and it is now dry, we're going to get into glittering this tumbler. So I am using the Apothecary glitter glue that I got in my BAMP custom creation box. I've been using this and really loving this. And so I'm going to use this as my glue adhesive for today, using just a Wet n Wild brush that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to put a nice generous coat of glue on this tumbler. So I will be using 2 cuts of glitter here to get our basis down, which is going to be this beautiful gold color. I'm using Tomatoa from Glitter by Mama Boss. Unfortunately, she no longer sells glitter, but I will list an alternative in the description box to use in case this is not a color you have on hand. But I'm going to be using that color as my chunky mix, and then we're going to go over the top of the chunky with Goddess from Peachy Olive Glitters. So starting with that Tomatoa, I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle that on. I don't want to go too heavy-handed, but I want to make sure I have enough of this glitter present to pick up some of those large chunky sparkles throughout the cup after we lay down our fine glitter on top. So once I'm satisfied with my chunky mix there, we're going to get into adding a Goddess. So Goddess is the fine cut of Athena. If that's a glitter you have in your collection, that would be a great color to use underneath Goddess if you wanted that chunky look like I'm doing here with the layering of my 2 glitter colors. So we're going to make sure we cover up the rest of our glue here with our Goddess fine glitter here, then tap off any of the excess glitter that is on the cup but not actually stuck to our glue, and we'll let this dry. After that has dried, I do let that dry pretty thoroughly, and then I will go ahead and spray seal that first initial coat of glitter. So while we're waiting for that to dry and for me to do spray sealing on that, we're going to go ahead and get our lid, I should say, prepped as well. So I'm going to just sand my stainless steel section of this lid, clean that off with 91% rubbing alcohol, and then I'm going to go ahead and use painter's tape to cover up the threads down at the bottom of the lid here. So this is a screw top here that we're going to be adding to the top. And so I'm going to cover that section up because I want to make sure that I don't end up getting any spray paint on that and having to do more work when it comes to the cleanup process at the end. Then I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get the center hole covered as well. I want to basically make sure I don't end up with spray paint anywhere that I don't need it to be, so that I don't have a bunch of places I have to use acetone on to remove any excess spray paint. So I just put a piece of tape over the top section of the hole, and then I'm really carefully going to just cut around the center section here, remove the excess tape. That way I can take this top over to my spray tent and get it spray painted again with that Colorshot Skinny Dip color, which is that beautiful beige color that I've been using in a couple tutorials so far. So while that's drying, we are back here with our main cup here, and we're going to prep our tumbler here for our hand-painted leopard print. So for this part of the tutorial, And for the glittering process, I am going to just use Mod Podge. You totally could use any adhesive that you want. I just decided to use Mod Podge as opposed to like the adhesive apothecary glitter glue that I was using before, just because I knew I wasn't going to have enough of that to stretch that across the 3 cups here left in that little container. But in these 3 measuring cups that I have here, I'm going to add a little bit of some acrylic paint to just color the Mod Podge, tint the Mod Podge to be the same glitter color as the glitter that I'm going to be using. So I have a black acrylic paint, a brown acrylic paint, and then we're going to use a pink acrylic paint here for the last and final cup here. So once I've gotten my paint inside of my cups here, we're going to get ready to mix those up, of course, and then we'll start the process of hand-painted leopard. So you guys have seen me do hand-painted leopard, but I haven't actually done one of these tutorials in quite a while where I've showed the process of hand-painted leopard. And for this, we're going to be doing a little bit more of a traditional looking hand-painted leopard versus some of the other leopard versions that I've done on my channel. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of time here to just show you guys how to do this if you haven't done it before. It can be really easy, but I have also heard that for some people it can be super challenging. So I always just say, you know, practice on something that you don't really care about first if you're worried about getting your leopard print just right before you move on to a cup. So the first thing I'm doing is we're starting with the inner portion of my leopard print. So the inner portion of all of my leopard spots are going to be brown. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my paintbrush and that tinted Mod Podge and I'm just going all over the cup and I'm literally just putting dots all over. So I don't really have a rhyme or reason as to the size of my dots, the shape of my dots. The more random, honestly, the better on all honesty. So I like to just kind of go all over. I want to make sure that my leopard print looks really random and sporadic and less like, you know, straight lined and very much cohesive. So I want the true leopard print to kind of come through, and you're only going to get that if you really just go really random when you're trying to put your leopard print together. So I covered all of that paint with the glitter color Love You a Latte by my Aisha Creations. I will link that, of course, down in the description box. And I'm just going to go back and finish up any spaces that I felt needed another spot or two, and of course add a few leopard print spots to the bottom of the tumbler. I'm going to tap off any of the excess glitter that's not stuck to any glue there, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to the outer section, which is you know, the leopard print portion of the spots. So now with my black tinted Mod Podge, I'm going back through all of my spots and I am creating either a C shape, I'm creating a parenthesis look, or I'm creating like a C shape and a dot look around each of the leopard print spots. You will also notice that I kind of am in some of the spot sections covering up some of the brown glitter, and that's okay because I want these leopard print spots to look a little bit more organic. I don't want them to look so large and you know, sort of in your face, extra large. I want them to look rather natural. And so I'm going to do this just kind of section by section. I would recommend in between you moving from glitter to glitter that you allow your Mod Podge to dry a little bit before you move on to the next glitter color, because sometimes the glitter, especially if you're using fine glitter like I am, that was basic blackboard that I'm using as the outer section of my leopard spots here. Sometimes the fine glitter really can find all those little nooks and crannies in the glue that there isn't glitter stuck to, and then can kind of make your spot be overpowered by the glitter you're pouring onto it. So I definitely would recommend letting your glue dry or running your heat gun over the section that you've just glittered and letting that glue dry just a little bit before you go into the next glitter color. You don't need to spray seal or anything like that unless you want to. I don't feel like it's really necessary because just allowing your glitter to, or your glue under the glitter to dry a little bit is going to prevent any of your next sets of glitter from sticking to spaces that we don't want it to. So I do this in section by section, again, creating those different various shapes that I mentioned sort of at the beginning of this clip to create the black outline of my leopard print spots. You also could, and it's not something that I did because we're actually going to be putting hearts on this, but if I had done just a leopard print look like this, I would go back and just do some small dots and C shapes with just black. But because I want to pull in that bougie and Grinchy design, I decided that we're going to take the pink tinted Mod Podge and we're going to create some cute little hearts here. So I'm just using a fine paintbrush here to create my little hearts. Really, they look like little V's, but it looks exactly like the heart of the Grinch in the original movie, which I absolutely love. So I'm just gonna go through, and any of my real open spots that just look like it needs something there, I'm putting a heart. So, you know, you can put as many or as little hearts as you want to. Of course, it's completely up to you because it's your design and your creation, but I was just kind of looking for those kind of large bare spots to decide where I was going to be putting all of these cute little hearts. Once I'm pretty satisfied with the amount of hearts that I have on this cup, I'm then going to take pink pixie dust, which is another My Aisha Creations glitter, and we'll cover all of the pink Mod Podge sections up with that glitter. I'm really just sort of loving how this is coming together, and this was something I'm kind of getting back into my creating for fun and not creating for the sake of putting a video together. And so this was one of those designs that I was just looking up things on Creative Fabrica, and I'd been on Etsy, and I actually have never made a Grinch cup. This is probably like the first one I've ever honestly like made. I may have made like one other before, but I found this cute little SVG. I've been seeing this Grinchy and Bougie one, and I saw this one with the leopard print hat, which you'll see me put on the cup in a little bit, and I just fell in love with it. And so from that image, sort of this cup was born, and I absolutely love how this is sort of pulling it all together. So I have already epoxied my cup. After I did all of the glittering, I did go ahead and, of course, spray seal it after everything was dry, then put it on the turner, and we did about 3 coats of epoxy over this. You can use Fast Set or Artist Cure. I usually do Fast Set for my first 2 coats, and then I'll go in with Artist Cure for my 3rd coat before I'm ready for decals, just because we had quite a bit of glitter on this cup. So you'll notice that I did already have part of the decal on my cup here before I put the main portion of the decal. So I've been seeing so many creators being able to use their matte sticker vinyl, which, and this is from Haze paper. I used this in my last tutorial. They've been able to use transfer tape. I must have like really strong holding transfer tape or something, because I tried to do this with the first image and I ended up pulling up all of the ink off of the image, even though I like pulled the transfer tape off really slowly. So I decided to just hand place cut and printed another one and just decided to hand place the rest of the image here to just get that on. But if you have a tape that you recommend for applying your sticker paper, let me know, because I'd love to grab one. That way it makes it easier for those smaller sort of designs. So the bulk of the cup, the main portion of the cup is done. All I need to do is put that back on the turner. And of course, that's going to go on the turner for 2 final coats of epoxy. So while we're waiting for that final coat of epoxy to cure, we're going to go ahead and get our lid rhinestoned. So I'm using the Bob Smith 30-minute 2-part epoxy here. I put that on just a little sticky notepad here with a little bit of Diamond Magic from My Aisha Creations. I'm then going to use my little spoolie here, which I've been loving to use to spread my glue on super thin. And I'm just going to spread out that glittered epoxy for my Rhinestone Glue all the way over this lid here. So the rhinestones that we're going to be using, of course, are from Blend Sister Supply Shop, my absolute favorite. This is a scatter mix called Golden Shadow. It is perfect if you are looking to do a true leopard print cup with rhinestones. I recommend this to grab up as your gold color. It is absolutely beautiful. A breathtaking gold color that is just perfect for this exact design, but in rhinestone form. So we're going to go ahead and start with the center. I always work from the center and work my way out. I'm doing the scatter method here, which means that I am playing what I like to call the game of Tetris, to just place my stones on the lid all over wherever they fit until I cover the entire lid. We are going to be able to see some of the paint and some of the glue when the final lid is done. And that's just because I wanted to still be able to see a little bit of that, and I don't want to have to go back in with those super teeny tiny stones to cover sort of like that little inner edge of the circle. You certainly could if you wanted to, but I liked the look aesthetically better with sort of that little bit of the skinny dip color exposed. So once that was finished, I let that cure for the full 30 minutes, put the lid back on my cup, and this is the final look at our tumbler for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's Grinchy and Bougie leopard print tumbler. Of course, if you loved today's tutorial, give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys again next week. Bye!